A committee has been set up by the FCT minister to check the influx of Almajiris into the nation's capital. That committee would have the hard task of differentiating between the Almajiri system and street urchins. We'll also be getting an update on the profiling of pan-taker markets in the FCT and what the FCT administration is doing about security in Abuja's suburbs. These and more coming up this week on Dateline Abuja. Hello and welcome to Dateline Abuja. I'm Kayla Magwa. Let's begin with an update of the major stories this week from Nigeria's presidency.
Over 3 decades after the annulment of the June 12, 1993 presidential election, former military president General Ibrahim Babangida has finally admitted that late MKO Abiola won the annulled election. He made the revelation at his memoir, titled A Journey in Service, which was launched in Abuja. General Babangida confessed that if he could turn back the hands of time, he will handle the June 12 debacle differently, adding that the then Chief of Defense Staff, late General Sani Abacha, was the key actor in the forces hell-bent on scuttling the presidential election. President Bola Tinubu, who mobilized support against the military regime after General Babangida annulled the 1993 election, recalls how the former military president failed to make history.
And when you look at the programs, some of the bankers and many of us that were here today about this library, about the project, it's all the happiness of a visionary Babangida. Thank you for what you are.
The Senate has asked the National Security Advisor, the Director of the Department of State Services, the Director of the National Intelligence Agency, the Defense Intelligence Agency, to appear before it over allegations of funding of terrorist group Boko Haram by the U.S. aid. The call for an urgent investigation into the allegations that international organizations, including the United States Agency for International Development, USAID, may be funding terrorist group Boko Haram, follows a motion raised by Senator Alin Dume on the urgent need to probe the matter. During plenary, lawmakers expressed concern over the viral video of a U.S. Congressman, Scott Perry, a Republican representing Pennsylvania, who alleged at a congressional hearing that U.S. aid had been involved in funding terrorist activities across the world, including Boko Haram. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Christopher Musa, has debunked claims that Nigeria sent a large contingent of athletes and officials to represent her at the Invictus Games in Vancouver, Canada. Speaking in Abuja while playing host to the victorious athletes, General Musa insists that Nigeria deserves to be treated with respect as he explains that the military was invited and all necessary protocols were followed. He adds that the application process involved key government officials, including the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the National Security Advisor. Expressing disappointment, General Musa revealed that key members of the Nigerian team, including the team captain, medical doctor, and physiotherapists were denied visas for reasons best known to the Canadian Embassy. General Musa, however, commended the Nigerian participants at the Invictus game, praising their courage and resilience. Vice President Kashim Shettima has tasked the National Council on Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises on the need to fast-track more funding for small businesses to thrive in the country. He gave the charge at the inaugural meeting of the council, which he chaired at the State House, Abuja. The Vice President says the federal government is working in collaboration with other stakeholders and will be more deliberate in ensuring growth of MSMEs in Nigeria. Prominent Nigerians have been paying tributes to the late elder statesman, Chief Edwin Clark, who died at the age of 97 years. The dignitaries visited his Abuja residence to condole with the family. The visitors include former Governor of Bayelsa State, Senator Seriake Dixon, presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, members of the Middle Belt Forum, as well as Pan-Nigeria Delta Forum.
Welcome back. Nigeria's out-of-school children is reaching exponential levels. Many states across the country are doing what they can to bring down those figures. The FCT administration say they are on track as well. Our report gives you an idea of these out-of-school children and what it's done to increase the number of street urchins in places like the nation's capital. Please watch this. According to the United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, The global number of out-of-school children has risen by 6 million since 2021, reaching a total of 250 million children. The figure states that 1 in every 5 of the world's out-of-school children is in Nigeria. Though primary education is officially free and compulsory in Nigeria, about 10.5 million of the country's children aged 5 to 14 years are not in school, while only 61% of 6 to 11-year-olds regularly attend primary school, and only 35.6% of children aged 36 to 59 months receive early childhood education.
We have no choice but to support them, because our work is their work, and we must all put hands together to make this work succeed. As they have already said, we have all seen the beginning of 1st October protests. Some places it was not a protest, it was rioting. In some places it was pure theft of people's hard-earned properties. So many places, so many things. And we have seen also on television screens and social media, the youth that stormed out. Those who are supposed to be in school, they are the ones on the streets. Why? Because of hunger. And you can't go and feed yourself with a stolen loot.
UNICEF identifies insurgency, poverty, and social-cultural norms and practices as factors responsible for discouraging formal education, especially for girls, with the Northeast region accounting for 29%, while the Northwest region accounts for 35% of out-of-school children. States like Kaduna are taking steps to address the situation by constructing this senior secondary school in Nasarawa, Rigachukun, in the Igabi local government area of the state to provide a conducive learning environment, especially for the underserved communities in the state. Kaduna State, which is in northwest Nigeria, has 768,739 out-of-school children, according to the state government.
Our intervention has been hugely impactful because thousands of our children have been enrolled in school across Kaduna State. I also wish to appreciate UNICEF Nigeria for its remarkable contribution to the growth and development of education in Nigeria and Kaduna State, especially in the aggressive and sustained campaign for enrollment and retention of out-of-school children.
Because like we always said in Kaduna State, our number one agenda is education, because it's the greatest leveler. And I'm happy that the Access Bank, Fitchoka, and UNICEF have come together to contribute this very important initiative, because you can see lots of money have been put together.
In Jigawa, also in the northwestern part of Nigeria, there are 784,391 out-of-school children in the state. However, 30,000 children are benefiting from Damodi Student Care Program, which is an initiative of the state government to reduce the number of out-of-school children in the state. Efforts by the federal government in the last 1 year has led to the enrollment of 4 million out-of-school children, according to the Minister of Education. The National Commission for Almajiri and Out-of-School Children Education is tackling the issue, especially in the Federal Capital Territory. In October of 2024, the FCT administration sought to rid the streets of beggars and street urchins. During the flag-off of the 2.7-kilometer access road leading up to the newly flagged-off judges' quarters at the Katampe district in the nation's capital, the FCT minister Nyesom Wike gave roadside beggars and street urchins a 5-day ultimatum to leave the roads or face enforcement action.
In terms of security, let me say clearly now, we have declared war. Abuja is returning to Beggars City. If you know you have a sister, you have a brother who is a beggar on the road, please, from next week, we will carry them. We will take them out. I mean, it is embarrassing that people who come in, the first thing they see are just beggars on on the road. Sometimes too, they may not be beggars. They may be criminals pretending to be beggars. We will not allow that. So I'm giving you a public holiday from now till Sunday. From Monday, we will pack them out.
Following this directive, in November of 2024, a joint security task force of the Federal Capital Territory arrested over 360 beggars across the metropolis. The secretary of the FCT Command and Control Center, Mr. Peter Olumuji, made this disclosure in a Ruga community during an operation of the Joint Task Security Team ranging from the Nigerian Police, the Department of State Service, and the Nigerian military, among others.
The operation is a holistic operation that covers different activities. Like for this particular place where we are removing the illegal shanties and the structures, most of them here have complained over time that the reason why they've not been able to have access to their plot of land is because of these shanties and the criminal elements that are here. They've tried to take over their plot of land in time past and they've come under severe attack. We have over 368 beggars presently that we've been able to remove from the street and taken to the Buhari Rehabilitation Center. And at that rehabilitation center, they are going to be profiled and asked the trade they want to indulge in. And based on that, the FCT administration is going to provide guidance and train them on such skills.
Recently, the FCT administration set up a committee to check the influx of Almajiris into the metropolis. The FCT Police Commissioner, Mr. Olatunji Disu, made this disclosure after the FCT security meeting chaired by the FCT Minister, Mr. Nyesom Wike. He explains that the idea is to ensure security agencies are abreast with details of Almajiris, especially their activities. Dismissing reports of a security threat in the nation's capital, Mr. Disu appealed to residents to be security conscious and report any suspicious activity to relevant agencies.
The members of the committee are members of the security, main security operatives of the Federal Capital Territory, the Nigerian Police, the Nigerian Army, the DSS, the NSCDC. And it borders on the influx of Almajiri and other persons into the Federal Capital Territory. It has a mandate to see how it's going to work out with the area council chairmen for them to identify schools where these children are being brought in to learn, to profile those organizing these schools, to have the pictures, phone numbers of people organizing these groups, and for them to work out means of working with them in future, and probably to find out what the government can do to ensure that they are kept in check, and to find out the content of the training they are giving these students in their various schools.
Some experts disagree with the plan to rid the FCT of street urchins and beggars.
You can't check influx of citizens into Abuja because, one, you don't have boundaries, you don't have border control where you say this person must enter and this person must not enter. The general impression in the villages is that once you get to Abuja, you make it. So people, even the Almajiris we are talking of, they're also coming to Abuja to make it, in quote now. So when they come to Abuja and they get disappointed, they go into crime.
The Almajiri system in its true form has no connection with street begging or petty crime reportedly perpetrated by these kids on the streets of the nation's capital. And these women begging all over the metropolis, many believe, are just victims of Nigeria's economic problems. Nevertheless, FCT residents await the outcomes reached by the committee set up by the FCT minister to remove street beggars and street urchins from the nation's capital. My guest on the program is Dr. Peter Olumuji, the secretary of the FCT Command and Control Center. What's happening with these Almajiris in the nation's capital? What's happening with security in Abuja's suburbs? And the profiling of pan-taker markets. We get an update from him. Please watch this. Dr. Peter Olumuji, welcome again to Dateline Abuja.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's get down to it. The Almajiris. So here's the issue. For most people who understand what the Almajiri system is about, we do find it a little off-putting that beggars on the streets are referred to as Almajiri. These are just street beggars. The Almajiri system has nothing to do with it. That distinction, is that something that the FCTA thinks about?
Yes, you remember that during the last security committee meeting, the FCT minister, His Excellency Barrister Nyesom Wike, talked about the Almajiri system and how it must be profiled in the FCT.
Okay.
And that task has been given to the Commissioner of Police. Now, why is the administration concerned about the Almajiri system in the FCT? We realize that with time, some people have used it for criminal activities. They've also used it for child trafficking purposes. And that is why the minister have given an instruction to the Commissioner of Police and set up a committee that will work with the 6 area council chairmen now to profile the various Almajiri schools operating in the various area councils. The reason why they have to do this, they want to know the type of training they give to these children when they come into the school. They want to understand the curriculum they use. They also want to understand the owners of such schools and thereby profiling the owners and whatever they stand for. You know, all these things is to safeguard the children who are going to be attending or who have been attending such a school, so that somebody will not indoctrinate them into terrorism or any act of violent crime. So that is the purpose in which the Honorable Minister of FCT have set up a committee to look into the operation of the Almajiri in the FCT.
All right, so let's now focus on the ones that we're worried about, the street beggars. Whether they are young boys or young girls or women carrying children, people pretending to sell groundnuts in the evening but actually engaging in begging. You can't go to Wusetu.
That's true.
Anywhere in Wusetu that there's a traffic light, if you park your car, if you just stop the car, somebody will come and be spraying water on your windscreen, and another person at the back is trying to open your door to take something from your car. And we've seen this in different parts of the city center. What's the plan for these street beggars? We've had this conversation some time back.
That's true. That's true.
And I think maybe an update on what's being done about these street beggars. There was supposed to be someplace in Buari where they were supposed to be sent to for skills acquisition training, you know, and then we're supposed to rid the streets of this begging that has become lucrative for many people who sponsor the begging. Give us an update on this street begging matter.
Yes, the update presently is that the Social Development Secretariat are still enforcing that ban, because there's a ban that have been pronounced that no street beggar is allowed within the FCC, and that ban still subsists. But unfortunately,
with all due respect, Mr. Olumuji,
no, I'm coming.
Between Christmas and now,
you know,
it's almost as though there is a resurgence of these beggars.
You know, when these good citizens of the FCT, let me use that word on them, you know, are taken to the rehabilitation center and ask the type of vocation they want to learn, most of the time, they are not always interested in such vocations. And, you know, there's always this, but they have sponsors that want to encourage them to be out there on the street. And being out there on the street is even detrimental to their safety and well-being.
But they're making more money.
No, somebody is making more money on them.
Someone is making money on them, and they're making more money themselves. How is your skills acquisition center in Buari going to compete with the largesse these people are making by begging on the street?
Yes, they are making largesse on the street, but at the same time, the administration is particular about the learning a skill. And you should also know that some of them have been repatriated back to their states of origin. Those that decided that, okay, they don't want to go into the vocation here in FCT.
All right, well, let's move on to Panta markets. There's a profiling that is going on right now.
That's true.
So let's hear the update, because the last time we heard you were shutting them down. You were there were a lot of places where we found stolen manhole covers and infrastructure, critical national infrastructure in these markets. So what's being done? The regularization that was asked for, is that being handled? And then, of course, the FCT minister had said that when they catch these vandals, we cannot be charging them. Go and
just
sweep
community service and the rest.
No. They should be charged with economic sabotage.
That's it.
So let's talk about what's the update on that.
Yes, let me start from, first of all, appreciating the channels and TV for constantly wanting to know what the administration have been doing. We want to appreciate you for being on this topic. And I want to also let our viewers know that as at today, the FCT administration is not against Panteka, but it's against using it for criminal acts. His Excellency, Barrister Yonsu Wike, as he came on board, has given that instruction that it should be regulated. And that regulation has led to what we are doing presently, profiling the union leadership of these various Panteka markets within the FCT. The profiling is being done by the Nigerian Police, the DSS, and the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. And they've achieved a lot, in profiling them. Now, when you now go to the scavengers, which we call babambolas, these ones are the ones that have been banned. The only place they could operate is at the dump site, which is at Goza. And some few weeks ago, there's a security meeting with all the Panteka union leadership, and they've given us their concerns, their worries in time past, and they've assured the administration that henceforth no item that is stolen or vandalized will be seen within their Panteka market.
So the management of
the management now,
the ones giving the assurance.
They've given that assurance because they now know that. And what the instruction, what the Commissioner of Police, FCT, have told them, if we come to your market and we see any stolen or vandalized item, then you are in for it. And you should also remember that those who have been arrested are facing prosecution presently. The police are prosecuting them for economic sabotage.
On this program, we're talking about the suburbs and policing the suburbs and how kidnapping and things like that usually occur in those places. Most of the residents of these suburbs complain that they don't have enough police presence. The patrol is once a week. We don't know what's going on. People are coming into our neighborhoods from the bushes. So let's talk about what the FCT administration is doing in this regard.
And in ensuring that, he has also brought about the establishment and the building and construction of police divisions in the 6 area councils. In fact, 2 standard world-class police divisions being constructed as we speak, and it's going to be commissioned very, very soon.
All right, so I want to thank you very much.
It's my pleasure
for making out the time to be with us on this program, and good luck with all the work you have ahead of you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks to my guest and to everyone who spoke to us today on the program. Please be safe. And like my guest said, if you see something, say something using these numbers showing right now on your screens. Remember to let us know the happenings in your neighborhood using the social media handles showing right now again on your screens. Thank you for watching. I'm Kayla Magwa. See you next time.